Is it actually possible to hack the Overwatch ladder and gain SR? Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I am Stylosa. So in this video, I'm going to go over some points. They're not in order, but we're just going to go over some points which will help you gain SR on the ladder. But what you've got to remember is this isn't a 100% guide. If you do this, you will not just magically gain SR. This will just increase your chances because that's all Overwatch competitive currently is right now. It is a little bit of a gamble. You're going into games hoping that you get teammates that work together. So what can you do to reduce the chance of actually having teammates that, well, don't want to play together, that don't want to win, and all of that good stuff? Well, let's get stuck into this. So the first thing is obviously duo or triple queue. Now, if you've got somebody on your team who you can rely on and you know can play a certain type of hero. Now, one big thing for this is if you're a support main, or let's say if you're a tank main, you don't want to queue with your friend who is also a tank main. And what I mean by that is a main tank player. So you don't want two Reinhardt players on the same team. That's incredibly stupid because the Reinhardt player, yes, if he doesn't play Reinhardt, maybe you can play a different hero. The problem is, though, he's not going to be as good on that hero, is he? So it's a little bit stupid. So try and queue with roles that complement each other. So if you're a main tank, maybe queue with a DPS or maybe queue with a support. One thing I will say, though, is often in solo queue, you'll see a lot of people insta-locking in. Now, I've seen this at every level of the ladder. I've seen it through Diamond. Well, I say every level. Well, I've seen it through 3 levels. I've seen it through Diamond, Master, and GM. People will just insta-lock all of the time. Nobody cares, right? Doesn't matter what level of play you get to. So, by my powers of deduction, I believe this happens at every rank. So if you have got somebody on your team who you can group with and you know that they're decent and maybe they can play supports really well and also maybe they could fill on main tank, then that means you've got a tank and support there. So if you play DPS and maybe you can play, I don't know, Anna as well, you kind of cover 2 sort of slots there. So when it comes to building the team, you can start building around to make sure that you've actually got a team which is viable. Also, as well, another little bit of an advantage to this is you get more avoid slots. This basically means you can avoid more people. So you get 3 on your own, but if you're in a group, you get 6. So, yeah. And if you've got 3, you get 9. So the more people you've got, the easier it becomes to avoid people. One little thing I want to say on avoiding players, though, is do not just avoid players because you don't like their voice or you don't like something they've done in a game. Avoid them if they're actively not trying to win. And this might sound a bit controversial, but do not avoid them if they're a one-trick either, because they might be a one-trick, but they might be actually decent at it, and you might be able to work with them in some way. I know the one-trick's forcing you to play the way they want to play and all of that stuff, but if they're actually okay, then it might be worth not avoiding them. I'd only honestly avoid people who are abusive in chat, or who are just literally not playing to win. If they're actively throwing by just playing Torbjorn and jumping off the map, for example, avoid those players. Time of play. Now, this is an interesting one. Is there actually a best time of play? I don't think there is. I think this is a bit of a fallacy. I think people are kind of like, well, it's terrible if you're playing weekdays at night because that's when all the kids are back from school. It's when everybody's back from work. Everybody's angry. They just don't care. They want to do what they want to do. Don't play at the weekend for the same reasons. You should play early morning in the weekdays or really late night at the weekends. Honestly, I don't think there is an ideal time to play Overwatch. I think that's just kind of blown out of proportion. I think the ideal time to play Overwatch is, well, when you can play Overwatch. That's the whole point of this video. So these tips will help you use that time better. Use the meta. This is a thing. Now, you don't need to necessarily pay attention to the meta, especially not the pro level meta. You don't think, oh, well, the pros are playing goats in every game. We must play goats in every game. However, imagine if you've got a team comp that you could turn into goats by you playing Brigitte instead of Genji, right? You'd only know that if you understood the meta. So this is where the meta becomes really powerful, because if you've suddenly got goats, your team might not realize that's what you've got, and you guys watching this video might be like, Star, what the hell are you talking about goats? Well, it's triple tank, triple support. But if you've got 3 tanks, and you need a main tank for this, so you've got a Reinhardt, let's say. Let's just build the team. So you've got a Reinhardt, a Zarya, a D.Va, a Lucio, a Anna, and then you've got a Genji, and you're the Genji. If you say, I'm going to play Brigitte, that team instantly wins because it is the ultra super strong meta team, and if everybody just runs together onto the point, they will win. Unless the enemy team have got goats, which they probably won't have. So that's a way of understanding the meta and knowing that if you swap your hero, you will win more games. Simple stuff. Even things like if you're playing on Rialto, first point attack, Pharah is really strong there. Like, really, really strong, I think. So maybe instead of playing Hanzo that you always play, maybe give Pharah a go. And maybe say to the Mercy or one of your support players, could you just pick Mercy for the first attack round? Or the first checkpoint? They might do it, and it gives you such a massive advantage when you go into attacking. Little things like that. Anyway, use the meta, guys. It can really help you. Now, this is a stupid one, but play to win. Don't ever play to just for the sake of it. Don't go, I'm just going to play some Overwatch today. I don't really care what's going to happen. If you're going to do that, play in quick play of the arcade. Don't play in competitive, because you will get frustrated when you start losing because, well, you're not really trying. Don't die. This has always been a thing I've always said, but try not to die. If you minimize the amount of deaths you have in a game, you're alive for longer, so you're actually doing more stuff. It's dead simple. I see people do crazy stuff. Like, I see a lot of soldier players that just like to jump off the high ground into the middle of a fight and die. It's a strange phenomenon where players get sucked into a fight. Don't do that. Maintain a good position. Now, this is a very difficult topic to convey in a video like this. It would literally take hours and hours and hours to show you the positioning of every hero at every point in every single possible team comp. In fact, it would be infinite. It would be impossible. But just try to remain calm. Try to remain in a good position where you can't be easily attacked by the enemy and where you can do what your hero needs to do. Now, it's different for certain heroes, right? A Reinhardt would need to be on the front line, obviously. He doesn't want to be in the back line because he's not doing his job. A Soldier 76 doesn't really want to be in the middle of the team where everybody's standing on the point. He wants to be at the high ground, around the point. Think of Numbani, first point defense. Soldier is always on the high ground there. He should never be on the low ground. If you're a Soldier player or any DPS player and you're on the low ground, think about just standing on the high ground. It will instantly make you better at the game and you'll have more chance of winning. Track ultimates. This is another one which people just literally do not do. If you watch my Overanalyzed, I always go on about this. I'm like, you need a plan and you've got to track ultimates. One thing to do with ultimates is it's going to be difficult to track all of the enemy ults being used, and it takes a long time to learn this. There are some really good pro players in Overwatch League who can track ultimates like crazy, but these are guys that are scrimming for 10 hours a day, and they've played Overwatch for like 3 years solid. They know the game inside out. That's not the same for all of us, but a very simple way of doing this is if you see an enemy use an ultimate, then you know they no longer have that ultimate. So tell your team. If you see Grav get used, a lot of your team will know Grav's been used, and maybe they've used Grav Blade. So Genji's used his ultimate into a Graviton Surge. This is a good combo. Maybe it's killed your team because your team didn't have a Zen or didn't have a Lucio for the defensive ultimate. So now you know they don't have that. So in the next fight, you can be a lot more aggressive as a team. In fact, you could say, guys, let's use our Grav and then let's use our, I don't know, maybe we've got a Barrage because we've got Pharah. That's a combo. So what I'd say for ultimate tracking is try and track when ultimates are used to begin with and try and come up with plans to use the ultimates that you've got on your team to win fights. People do not talk in competitive, and all you need to do is go, guys, let's just Grav Blade this fight. That's it. They will understand and they will do it. And hopefully you don't overuse ultimates because that will lose games. Because whether you like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, Overwatch is a game of ultimates, and ultimates will win the game and lose the game as well if you use too many in a fight. Now, earlier on in the video, I did say if somebody's a one trick, don't necessarily avoid them. But what I'm going to say now might sound a bit strange. Don't be a one trick. And I mean, do not be a solid one trick that never swaps. If you're that guy, and there's a load of these people that do this, you're the last person to select your hero in a team comp, and you do not have a main tank. You do not have a main support. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to play Genji, or I'm just going to play Widow as the last pick. And you pick it within 10 seconds of the timer. So really, we don't have time to react as a team. That is terrible. You should not do that. The only reason you do that is because you only play Widow. Widow's the only hero I play. Whatever, I'm playing Widow. Maybe you just lock Widow in anyway. What you've got to think is what builds a team. Now, the big issue with Overwatch, and this hopefully gets fixed next year, is you might not want to play Reinhardt, but you know you need a Reinhardt to get through the first point choke on Eichenwald. You just need a barrier tank. You can't just run through without a barrier tank because you'll take so much spam, you'll probably die. Or you'll take heavy damage to your team, and then when the fight breaks out, you're all at a disadvantage and you'll lose. So you playing the Widowmaker there isn't a good move. You should pick the Reinhardt. But I know why you don't, because you don't like playing Reinhardt. So hopefully, in the future, this changes and you get put into teams where people are willing to play these roles. Anyway, for the time being, try and flex, because you will have more chance of winning that game if you do sort of bite your tongue and play the hero that the team needs rather than the one you want to play. The next game might be different. Just always do things to win and you'll gain more SR, and hopefully you'll get into a position where you're with better players over time that may possibly build better teams. Now, I did say at the start of this video again, it's the same at every level of the ladder I've played at, where people just insta-lock and they don't care about team comp. But as you go up through the ranks, they are a bit more aware when it comes to ultimate tracking and what the current meta of the game is. So in theory, it's a little bit more stable. Try not to tilt. Now, this is a stupid one, but like, if you feel yourself tilting, stop playing Overwatch. That is the simplest advice I can give you. Overwatch is a strange game. Like, I'm not going to say this is a blanket statement, but for me personally, I always find it easier to play, or I'm more effective at climbing the ladder if I play in short bursts. This is probably one of the reasons why I don't stream Overwatch, because I don't sit there and play Overwatch for 3 hours solid. I'll play it for an hour, or maybe I play it for an hour and a half, and then I stop playing, right? Even if I've won every single game, I'll do something different, because I don't want to sit there and just smash game out after game out after game out, because I know I will get mentally tired. I will not be able to perform at the highest level. That's not to say I still wouldn't be effective, because maybe I could play different roles instead of like trying to play DPS or whatever. The thing is though, if you're playing fresh, you will win more games because you will make better decisions. Your mind will be sharper. You're not tired. You're not throwing. Now, of course, one of the problems with this is, as well, is I know people have only got certain amounts of time to play. So it's not like you can be like, okay, I've had a few good games. I'm feeling a little bit tired, so I'm going to stop playing now. But actually, you might only have 2 hours tonight to play games, or this is the only time of the week you get to play, so you just want to slam games out. So I get that as well. But if you're feeling tired, guys, think about coming out of competitive and maybe doing something different. You will lose games in the spawn room. This will just happen again. This is something that needs to be fixed, hopefully, for next year. So, yeah, you'll just get a team comp. That's not going to work. When this happens, you just have to think to yourself, okay, let's be positive. Let's get that PMA on the go, the positive mental attitude. It's a lost game, probably, because our team comp's terrible, but I'm still going to try. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, whatever, I don't care. Because as soon as you do that, you become slightly tilted, you become slightly toxic, and that goes into your next game, and that's not a good place to be. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa and this is Unit Lost. If you've got any more tips on how to hack the ladder, then do let us know in the comments below. These are the ways that I play the game. I don't play in long bursts. I play the hero the team needs. I generally lock in the hero I feel best with on that map. Now, I've played Overwatch for a long time, so I'm fairly okay with a lot of heroes. If that hero is not going to work with the team comp, then I'll swap the team. Then when I'm in the game, I may say things like what enemy ultimates have been used. I may form plans. Typically, I do this when I'm playing tanks. I'll be like, right, okay, push forward, guys, or it'll just be basic information, things which will help the team. This allows me to get to a few different places on the ladder, and I'm quite proud of that, to be honest, because do I think mechanically I'm like a GM player, or I should be up there? Probably not, but Overwatch isn't completely about mechanics. Overwatch is about using your head. There's this thing called Overwatch Game Sense, and that is just understanding the game, knowing what needs to be done at every moment in time. If you do that, and you get better at it, you will just win more games. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one, and remember, you can follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming. I've been Stylosa, and also click the bell, because you get alerted to when videos go live on the lovely channel. You can follow me on Instagram as well, which is @Stylosa on Instagram, which is glorious. And I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. Toodaloo.